Welcome to All Things Moore County, Moore County's weekly radio show highlighting the many facets of the Sandhills. That includes real estate, lifestyle, community and neighborhoods. And now from 4 Properties, here's your host, Bill Sahadi.
Good morning and welcome to the talk show, All Things Moore County. Dorothy, every time we come on the show, I have a really bad habit of not announcing that we can be heard on 97.3 FM as well as 990 AM.
That's right.
You guys have given up on me in terms of advertising that for the last couple of years. But I understand in addition to the 97.3 FM, as of this weekend, WEEB is also on 104.1 FM.
Yes.
How come?
We wanted to get coverage over the Carthage and northern Moore County area a little better.
Oh, the northern part of the area?
Yeah, the northern part of the county. We wanted better coverage up there, especially at night.
So in the FM station at night, you don't have the same power, do you?
The AM drops its power at night due to our FCC license, but the FM can stay steady 24 hours a day. So you get a better FM coverage up there.
So now people can listen to 97.3 or 104.1 FM?
Yep, that's it.
And 990 AM.
And 990 AM. And of course, you can also find us online.
So since I've screwed it up in the past, now I have 3 things that I'll screw up going forward.
I'll make you a note.
Well, so we're going to be heard now more in the northern part, West End, Carthage, up towards Sanford.
Up towards Sanford, yes.
Okay, that's nothing.
It's just on, so I'm not sure exactly at this point how far it'll go. So we're still tweaking it and getting it all squared away.
Okay, I just wanted to get that cleared up so I know. It seems like just a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about school getting out.
I know, it just happened, didn't it?
Yeah, it just happened.
And now all of a sudden we're turning around and it's time to go back.
So yesterday was the first Stuff the Bus campaign, getting ready for the new school year. But like I said, I thought school just got out.
It feels like it.
Parents were, oh boy, here we go.
I'm sure if any other parents are like me, I'm ready for mine to go back.
Yeah, already?
Yes.
Well, we're going to talk about the Stuff the Bus campaign. It started yesterday, and it's also going on as we speak today from 9 to 5, and tomorrow, Sunday, from 12 to 4. Okay. And we want to talk about the Stuff the Bus campaign, why it's become an annual rite of fall almost, and why it's so needed. And we're here with the people that kind of author the program, and it's just one of many programs that they do author. And the theme of the show today is mentoring and taking care of the kids and providing a leg up for those maybe that are not as well off. And that's been a consistent theme on the show. So we're going to be speaking the first half of the show, or at least a large part of the show, with more buddies. And we have the new executive director, Joyce Clevenger, with us, Tracy Gibson, who is the administrator of More Buddies, and Anthony McCauley, who is the in-school mentoring program coordinator. Before we even talk to all of you individually, I want to talk about Stuff the Bus, because that's happening right now, and people have today and tomorrow to help participate. Joyce, I'm going to start with you. You're the new executive director, so welcome.
Thank you.
And I hope we get a chance to see you on the show in the future from time to time. Before we even get into More Buddies, let's just talk about Stuff the Bus. What's going on?
Well, Stuff the Bus, this is its 12th year, and what we do is literally stuff a school bus. We are parked down in front of Wal-Mart.
Right.
And we have volunteers stationed there to greet people as they go into Wal-Mart and Staples and ask them simply just to buy school supplies for kids in need. And we fill up that school bus. And they go directly to the schools and are distributed among the children that actually need them.
These are for all Moore County schools?
All Moore County schools.
Is it elementary, middle school?
All ages. We sort the school supplies evenly and distribute them to all schools in Moore County.
And if people can't go and physically stuff the bus, they can also donate.
Yes.
A check or whatever.
Absolutely.
To help. So how do you determine how the supplies get distributed?
Well, we give them a supply list when they go into the store that makes a suggestion on the type of notebooks and pencils and pens and erasers and book bags, things that students need. And then we have runners that are taking those supplies over to the elementary school where they're being sorted. And so then we distribute them as evenly as we can to every school. So all school gets notebooks and pencils and erasers and all the individual supplies.
So the reality is there are a lot of parents and a lot of grandparents that get stressed at this time of the year because
Yes.
they don't have the funds to help supply their kids or their grandkids with the supplies that they need
Right.
to go to school.
Yes, I read a statistic that it costs about $660 per year for school supplies for an elementary student.
Wow.
And that's over the school year, but a lot of our families don't have that kind of money. So this is a great burden off of them. It's a burden off of the teachers, so because she knows that all of her students will have what they need.
So what do you say to people who have moved into the area recently and they see beautiful southern pines and Pinehurst and they go, I don't understand. Why do we have to have this event every year?
Well, we, believe it or not, have a lot of people who are disadvantaged in our county and that need our help.
Yeah, yeah. One of the things we've spoken about on the show in the past has been the amount of nets that are provided and supplied to the students in Moore County from the time they enter school to the time they graduate, and it's a very giving community. I've lived here 19 years, and I stuff the bus is an annual thing. And I guess you'd kind of hope that, oh my gosh, are things getting better, or are they getting worse?
Well, things are getting better. If you look at the research that shows the dropout rate per county in the state of North Carolina, we've cut that in half in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
We still have too many. We have about 60 students every year in the state of North Carolina that drop out of school. But that number is way down from where it used to be. So we're getting the word out, and we are making a difference one child at a time.
If you keep kids in school and they don't drop out, those kids have a better chance to graduate and become a member of the tax rolls and becoming a contributor to Moore County. If the kids drop out, bad things happen.
That's right. And we're trying to prevent that.
Yeah. Some of the programs you all are going to talk about today is an effort to keep kids in school,
Yes.
keep them on point.
Yes.
Because if kids spin out when they're at that age, that adolescent age, and they spin out, some of them are not retrievable.
Right. We hate to think that way, but once they reach a certain age
Yeah.
and they're, we're trying to intervene before that happens, before we get to that point.
So today people can go to Walmart and until 5 o'clock today and from 12 noon tomorrow to 4 and donate supplies or make contributions
Yes.
there at the bus?
Yes.
Okay. That would be a great thing to do. I guess you have some volunteers who are helping man the bus and
Yes, we just have so much community support for this campaign. We have Boy Scout troops, the teachers and principals are out there. We have professional organizations, people volunteering their time, the
Yeah.
Rotary Club, more young professionals, and they do this work.
Yeah.
They man the doors, they're gathering their supplies. I mean, we have sorters that have done this every year for I don't know how many years that really enjoy it, and it's their way of giving back, and they just do a marvelous work.
Well, it seems to me also in the last couple of years there are more and more kids moving into Moore County.
Yes.
And part of that is due to the military influx. More children, more challenges, right? More money's needed, more nets needed to provide these kids so that they feel like they're getting an equal shake. And I remember, and Anthony, I want to introduce you, Anthony McCauley. You're the in-school mentoring program coordinator. So I remember, when I hear a mentoring program, I remember the union of communities and schools and more buddies. But that has changed a little bit, where the Communities and Schools name has been dropped, and now it's all under the auspices of More Buddies. And
Yes,
I'd
it
like to
is.
say good morning.
Good morning to you.
Yes.
Thanks for having us today.
Yeah.
Yes, that has changed a lot, and we are more hands-on and can do more resources with our in-school mentoring program as well as our other programs as well. We are definitely getting to a point where we are pairing and matching mentors and mentees together within the school system to bridge the gap of some kids that may not even have some goals set for themselves.
Right. Goal setting is a very important part of growing up, isn't it?
Yes, it is, and I'm finding it will help. Even having a goal and trying to figure out what direction a child would want to go in would even help us to motivate them to get to the next level. A lot of our kids, I'm seeing they don't have goals. Nobody's even talked to them about goals, and that also helps with that dropout rate that we talked about earlier.
When you're a kid, you have dreams, and every kid should have dreams, and the world should be their oyster, right? And you don't ever want to deny a kid a chance to have dreams. But some of these kids don't have dreams. If they don't have goals, how can they have dreams?
That's right.
Is the mentoring program that you're doing, is it still based out of the Southern Middle School?
Southern Middle School is a very, very powerful part of this program.
Okay.
And this year, going into the new school year, we've been awarded more opportunity for more hours for me to branch out to some other schools. I will be going into West Pine Middle School. I will be going into Pinecrest, and I'm so glad to see the coach here today because I got some great things coming up at Pinecrest High School with some group mentoring, as well as West Pine has said they have been waiting for us to get there, so we will be walking in to that school and setting up that program along with Southern Middle School. Southern Middle School has been so kind to us to let us come in and kind of be free-hearted to run this program like we need to run it, and giving More Buddies free reign to pilot this program, and it has been a success.
Yeah, and the coach you're referring to is Coach Chris Metzgar, who's going to be joining us later in the show, and to give us a different take, a different perspective on mentoring, coaching, providing nets for kids, and maybe through athletics, maybe just through teamwork, giving kids a chance to unite behind maybe a cause so they can stand for something, because every kid is looking for a reason to be, right?
They are. And we have some great, what I'm finding out, we have some wonderful kids that are great athletes.
Mm-hmm.
But at More Buddies, we try to bridge that gap. We want you to be a student athlete.
Mm-hmm.
We want you to be able to think higher education so you can get to the next level. We have some I've seen some Division I basketball players, Division I football players within the school system. But we have got to get them to set goals. We've got to get them to stop being absent from school. Absenteeism, once you get to a certain point, you can't change it around because it's too late.
Right.
And a lot of those kids that are being absent are really, really great students that just need that extra push.
Right. You know, we do shows like this. I think a lot about my dad. I had a great father. I didn't think he was so great when I was a kid because it was tough love. I mean, I got up in the morning and he said, "What are you going to do today?" I go, "I just want to chill." And I remember getting a D in algebra in my junior year in high school, and I was on the varsity basketball team, and we were number 5 in the state. And that was way more important to me than algebra. And he told the coach to kick me off the team right before we played the number 1 team in the state. And I wanted him gone. And he kicked me off the team until I got my grade up. And I thought it was awful, but at that time, he was trying so hard to keep a thumb on me and keep me disciplined. And that's what a lot of kids don't have.
That is so funny you say that because it might.
Were you on the number 1 team that I couldn't
No,
play
it wasn't.
against?
No, I wasn't on that team.
Okay.
I made a C in algebra, and my dad took me off the basketball
Terrible
team
subject.
during the sectionals.
It was awful.
It was very awful.
They were crazy.
The algebra teacher said you have the potential, but I can't. You made a C.
Yeah.
My dad actually took me off the basketball team. We had a game that Friday night. The coach comes to the house. My dad said, "I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Until this grade comes up, you can't play." Immediately, I went back in and started doing some things different, and I bought that grade up.
Is your dad still around?
Yes, my dad is still around.
So mine is not. and I don't have a chance to thank them, but I think about it all the time. And what they teach you, those are life lessons you never forget. But you got to have people in your face, and that's what you guys are trying to do. You're trying to extend your arms and to provide that accountability for kids. Because if you don't, the kids will just take full advantage.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
Yeah, it's you always look back at how you were raised, and then you think of the kids today, and some of the kids don't have the same opportunities. And then sometimes it takes a village.
That's right.
And it does. It takes
That's right.
different role models to come into children's lives, and that's what More Buddies is trying to do. It takes a lot of money to run your organization.
Yes.
It takes a lot of fundraising. Challenge, huh? Joyce, you just rolled your your eyes. Fundraising is. I have to ask you this: with all the nonprofit organizations in Moore County, how do you raise your voice louder than all the other people that are doing the same thing? It's hard. How do you distinguish yourself?
Well, this has been a challenging year because we did make the differentiation from communities and schools to More Buddies. So this year has been about getting our name out there, and so it's been a year change and transition, and but I feel like we're making progress.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of community support.
Yep.
So we're hopeful and encouraged for the future.
You have a lot of proactive parents. You have a lot of parents who want the best for their kids. They come to Moore County because of the school system and the programs that they offer. But we've had shows on in the past where teachers in North Carolina are very much underpaid. And you read stories all the time, and this time of the year you start seeing news stories where teachers are going out and buying supplies themselves for the kids out of their own pocket. That's crazy. But I think the state is getting to hear this more and more and more, and as the generations are transitionalizing and the younger kids are coming up, there's going to be more pressure on people to make sure that the kids are supported. We're talking all about More Buddies. The Stuff the Bus campaign is going on as we speak at Wal-Mart today from 9 till 5 this afternoon, and then tomorrow from 12 to 4. And it's an opportunity for people to develop or to bring supplies that go to the children who need them so they can start off a school year on an equal ground with some of the kids that do have. We'll be right back. This is All Things Moore County. Welcome back to All Things Moore County, and our conversation today all about More Buddies, mentoring, and it's a bigger picture conversation about kids in need and what the community does to help support the kids so that everyone can start off at least on some sort of equal footing. Joining us in the show, later in the show, is Coach Chris Metzgar from Pinecrest. Chris has been a past guest on the show. Chris has had a couple of conversations with us about mentoring, big picture in general, specifically. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning.
Yeah, thanks for coming in. You snuck in here while we were talking in the first set, and a lot of what More Buddies does you do. Your hook is athletics, but it's more than just athletics, isn't it?
No doubt about it. Our whole mantra is creating champions in the game of life. We were blessed to speak at the National Convention about that, about the year-round character development, and really the scoreboard is awesome, but that scoreboard's going to stop. You know, whether a kid reaches his goal, like we've had 90 kids go to the next level to, you know, extend their education but play, it's going to end. And what skills have they learned? Mr. McCauley talked about goal setting and things of that nature.
Right.
And we talk about the game of life. That's constantly what we talk about, doing the little things, whether it's manners, whether it's eye contact, whether it's a firm handshake, whether it's just showing gratitude.
Right.
And the big thing for us is servant leadership. You know,
Right.
Zig Ziglar, Walt Disney both said, if you help enough other people get what they want, you'll reap a benefit. And that's kind of what we try to do. And we do that while
Such a simple rule, isn't it?
it really is.
But it's a shame how few people practice it.
Yes, sir. And much like you, I think a lot of us were raised, you know, most of us are about the same age. We were raised
Thank you
with
very
that,
much for that.
that hard work and that, you know, just doing the little things, whether it was a paper route or whether it was chores and,
Right.
you know, earning the right to be a part of a program, a team. And we're very honored. We're going into our 12th season.
Yeah.
That's how you kind of
Yeah.
gauge your life
Yeah.
as a high school coach. 27th as a high school coach and mentor. Really, it's not a coach; it's a mentor.
Anthony, I got to tell you a quick story. Chris and I have a young man in common. I will not mention his name. And we have talked to him about getting involved in the football program. And he's one of 6 kids and does not have a dad. And he's a gifted athlete and a gifted kid. Needs a little direction, needs a little discipline. And Chris and I were on the phone talking the other day, and he said, you know, I'm so glad to have him under my wing right now because he's got a lot going for him. And you give him a reason to get up in the morning, and you give him a reason to have a purpose and build up that self-esteem, huh?
It's really impressive. You know, we learn a lot from the kids. That's the one thing about being in education and being in coaching, and much like more buddies and mentoring. You learn a lot from the kids.
Right.
And, you know, those guys have taught us a lot. The young man you're talking about, you know, works very hard.
He does.
Has a lot of chores at home. Has a little brother that's awesome that was part of the Carrot. He's going to be one of our ball boys.
Oh, is that right?
On Friday nights.
I did not know that.
Yes, sir. That's one of the – and just to see 170, 180 young men out there. We're in a dead period this week.
Yeah.
You know, working from 6:55 until 11 a.m. and then we have to tell them they got to leave because they just, you know, you see that melting pot up there in the field house, and it's pretty special.
Well, the programs that you have, Anthony, the programs that you're instituting, you guys are on the same page in a lot of ways. You also have a Reading Buddies program, which Tracy, I haven't had a chance to introduce you yet. Tracy Gibson, you're the administrator for More Buddies. You're a lot of things, but that's one of the things you are. So I say good morning to you.
Good morning, Bill.
And she can talk. Okay. We have a literacy council here in Moore County. Reading at all different levels is something that people are supporting, and but you're talking about Reading Buddies at a younger level for students.
That's right. We actually, at the primary schools, run a program, Reading Buddies, and we have mentors that spend time with the students at the schools. These are kindergarten, first, second graders. We actually call them mentors because they're a little bit more than volunteers. Volunteers can kind of come and go, but the mentors are the ones that we use that word because it just kind of stays with them a little more.
Right.
But we do a program where mentors actually come in and spend 30 minutes to an hour with a particular student. They could also just assist in the classroom, but we find that one-on-one bond with that student that they really need that. These are students sometimes that the teachers put together with these mentors that don't have the support at home, just like our theme, kind of is today. These are students that maybe just want something more, need a friend, need somebody to talk to vent with, to lean on. And along the way, they do reading, and they do a little program that the coordinators with the schools that are amazing put together for these kids. And these are little things like writing some of the stories from the books they've talked about, just read, and whatever that particular kid needs. But we're in the process of growing that program, and we're really after new mentors to come in and spend time with these kids that need it. And we're in the process of hopefully even growing that program to other schools as well. Along with that program, we do a book collection, and this is called the Little Schoolhouse. And these are schoolhouses that are put in areas around the town that collect books from individuals in the community, and then are distributed out to these kids. A lot of time we find that these kids don't have books at home, and they can take them from their libraries at school, but they have to give them back. And this is a way for them to take a book home and actually keep it at home. Huh. So we find that it works really well with our Reading Buddies program.
You know, you're a mom of 3 kids, ages 6 to 10?
That's right.
Is that right?
That's
okay.
right.
So in a way, you are a mentor, but you've also been a mentor.
Right.
In the program.
Right.
And for a student, not your child.
That's right.
Tell us a little bit about that experience.
I have a student that's actually going to be going to Pinecrest this year, and I've been involved with him for close to 2 years. And my particular mentee lost his mother a couple years ago due to cancer. And so when I was able to have the opportunity to spend one-on-one with a kid, it just seemed to fit really natural. I thought that I wanted a girl. I had requested a girl. But then when I heard his story, I just knew that we were a match. And
can I ask you about the story, if we leave it anonymous or no? I can ask, but you might not answer me.
Well,
yeah.
Ask.
Can I ask you about the student's story?
Well, he lost his mother.
Okay.
Due to cancer.
Okay.
And so really just was living at home with his father. He does have grandparents in town, but I think he just needed a female in his life.
Right.
And I feel like I'm able to kind of talk to him about things that I think his mother would have appreciated if she were here. And I'm able to, when he tells me something, I feel I'm able to share with him that I think that his mother would be really proud of him with certain things. And some things I address as a mother does, and I say, let's talk about this, and I don't think this is the best. We go both ways, but he's a smart kid, and everybody comes into mentoring for different ways, and different. Maybe they had a mentor in their life, at a young age, or maybe they've heard about us in a different way. But we're always looking for mentors. We're always looking for somebody to come in, either the Reading Buddies program or with Anthony's program. We're constantly looking for people to work with kids in the community.
And you train the mentors prior to assigning them a student?
That's exactly right. Yeah, we and Anthony can talk more about that process. But yes, we do have a sort of system that we go through.
One last question. So you've been 2 years with this boy.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
Tell me about, from day one to today, how has it changed him?
So when I first started with him, he was very reserved. Just it took him a while to open up to me, and now some of the things that he says, I'm like, whoa, wait, let's slow down. He's very comfortable with me, but I like that because he trusts me and I trust him, and now that we're going to be working with Pinecrest more, it's opened up an opportunity to me that really wasn't there before. But now with Pinecrest, I'll be able to continue that relationship and that role with him.
Okay, Chris?
Is there an age range? Because I know in the spring, one of our traditions is our rising seniors, go to all the elementary and primary schools before school. And we've had probably 4 or 5 kids. They all do a great job. We had 4 or 5 kids that really, it impacted them tremendously because they realized that those kids really, little eyes are watching you.
Absolutely, and we want to actually talk about working with your school more, and we've got Emma Robertson kind of come on board with us and help with that. But we want to definitely get into the school system and that network a lot more.
So are they allowed, like would a senior in high school be able to go to the elementary and primary school?
As far as I know, that's our goal.
Awesome.
And so we want to work together with that. Yeah, absolutely.
We
I
definitely
wish I
want
could
to.
Anthony?
talk more about the student that Tracy had, because he's a student athlete, and he's a very, very wonderful young man. He's going to do some great things in his high school career.
Really?
Yes, and I've seen that from the beginning, and I have a wonderful relationship with him as well, and he's very respectful. His attitude has changed. He's going to be a great student athlete at Pinecrest.
Wow.
He's a championship wrestler.
Okay.
I'll leave it at that.
How's his algebra?
That's my job to stay on top of it with that.
Tracy does a great job making sure that he's right where he needs to be.
Awesome.
So.
Awesome.
It's a nice story, and as a mentor, it's also reassuring to know that you can make a difference in a student's life.
Absolutely.
They want consistency, don't they?
Yes.
You show up every week. Is it once a week that
It
you meet
is.
with him?
Mm-hmm.
For how long?
We meet for about 45 minutes, 50 minutes. So.
And you don't have a program, and you just
No, we wing it. Sometimes
You
we
wing
go
it.
out and play soccer. Sometimes we sit and talk about his grades and look over the grades. Sometimes we figure out apps.
Sometimes we walk to campus, because I even mentor.
Yeah.
If someone's on a waiting list and I see a real need, I'll take them on myself.
Mm-hmm.
And we might walk to campus. We might sit in the cafeteria, but I try to pour into that child and also continue to look for a mentor in the community for that person.
It's almost based on their need that day, too.
you make a difference in kids' lives when they're 14 or 15 or 16. They will not forget you, or they won't forget those memories when they're a young adult or when they're grown up. They'll always remember the people that cared for them. You can remember things that happened to you in 5th and 6th grade, right? Today, like it was just yesterday. So you guys do make a difference. We're going to come back in the third set. We're going to continue to talk about more buddies, some more of their programs, and maybe make a call out to some volunteers and get Chris Metzgar involved a little bit in the discussion. This is All Things Moore County.
Right.
They own that.
Right.
Right.
That's right.
So let's exchange
Yeah.
numbers for me,
Yeah.
please.
I think we are back on our third set, and I think we were talking a lot
We're
in
having a good time.
in the middle. Yeah, you don't need me. Let me take these off and leave. You and Chris were you were comparing notes, Anthony, about what?
We were comparing notes about the way things are now and the way things looked back when I was playing ball, and compared to some of the things that I had. A Hall of Fame football coach was my high school football coach, Coach Allen Brown out of Thomasville, North Carolina. He taught us life skills as well as the rest of the coaching staff. We felt a sense of they cared for us. But also what's lacking now, I went home to mom and dad. A lot of kids are going home to the situations are a single mom that's still at work when Anthony gets home from school, and he has no direction after that. So that's a lot going on. So
Yeah.
the consistency of being in their life is going to be huge.
Right. And you've had some, Chris, you've had some great stories with kids that were sort of on the outside of the circle, and by the time they had been with you over a couple of years, whether they become scholarship athletes or not, that's not what's important.
We've got a young man that's doing an internship right now with a top medical distributor in the country. He just graduated. I'm not going to say his name. The young man slept in his own bed the first time when he walked on at a Division I school, earned a scholarship, was a academic All-American, well-spoken, and you would never know it because he didn't let that hold him back. Mm-hmm. You know, we've got a coach on our staff that is the first one in his family to graduate from college. You know, his family at the time he went to college had no income.
Yeah.
And he didn't let that hold him back. And there's been tons of success stories of kids that have gone on to great things and haven't let their circumstances hold them back. We've all got stuff. Everybody in here's got stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not just the underprivileged kids. The privileged kids have stuff, but they all need that mentoring, and they all need someone who cares. Everybody wants someone who cares.
One of the basic tenets of what you're all talking about is what's happening right now at Walmart, Stuff the Bus. Some of these kids, they're just giving an opportunity to have the same supplies and get started on the same foot so they can grow. They can maybe learn. Maybe they can get involved with a mentor, maybe somebody who cares, who can provide them with some consistency and help build their self-esteem. And when Tracy was talking about the difference in her boy over the last 2 years, I was a mentor in the CIS program, and I had a young boy, Jake Luganbiel. I don't know if you remember that family. So Jake couldn't even make eye contact with me the first year. By the second or the beginning of the third year, he was standing in the hall of the middle school like the landlord collecting rent. This kid he had a Celadon bracelet on, he went online, he was showing it off, he was high-fiving his buddies, and you look and you go, oh my gosh, he belongs somewhere. And his family moved to the coast, but that's a very, I guess what keeps you guys really going is to see the difference that you can make one-on-one with students. Joyce?
Yes, absolutely. You know, sometimes, like we were talking earlier, you don't get a child until they're a little older and they've already been through some stuff. And a lot of our kids are court referred from juvenile court. Sometimes it's just for truancy. You know, they're not good students in school because they don't have anyone at home to help them. So being a poor student is not really doesn't really make a kid want to go to school, so they don't.
Right.
So they get in trouble for truancy. They're way behind in school. And so we're actually launching a new program. All these kids will be court referred ages 14 to 17 because these kids need a little more. And we're going to have to work a little harder to help them change the direction of their life. They're already starting to get into some trouble. So to prevent that recidivism and to try to put them back on track, we're going to continue to mentor. It is a mentoring program, but we're also going to work with our wonderful community college to expose them to all the incredible programs that they have there that they can get a certificate in. You know, they don't have to be a good student and commit to 4 years of a university. They can go
Right.
And learn auto mechanics, culinary, landscaping, golf court maintenance. There's health and fitness courses, and they even have dual enrollment where a student can go and in a year's time finish high school and get their
Right.
certificate in one of these programs.
Right.
And then we're going to go into the community and job shadow and actually see those jobs in action. So there's another adult that they will engage with that can encourage them and that can talk about, hey, this is the training I got, this is what I like about my job, this is how much money I make. And then we're going to do group mentoring where we're going to work on their self-esteem and skill
Right.
building.
Right.
You know, how do you look someone in the eye and shake their hands? How do you fill out a job application? Let's do some, mock interviews.
Yeah.
And just help them to make better choices and
Yeah.
decide that they want to do something in their life, because every kid's got something to contribute if we can find out what that is. And we want to spark something in them that says, hey, I think I'd like to learn more about that or do that with my life, you know. some hands-on engaging experiences with lots of people in our community, and
Yeah.
we're excited about it.
Yeah. Chris.
I would just say this. We've talked a lot, Mr. McCauley and myself and Miss Gibson, but at Pinecrest High School in 11 years, we just call it like we said, there's a huge need not only to mentor young men, but there's a monstrous need to mentor young ladies. That's just really been on my heart as I look at our courtyard, as I look at our community, as I visit the elementary, primary schools, and middle schools. That sometimes, we've got 190 guys in our football program, and then Coach Snyder's got his, and then we got the Boys and Girls Club, we got basketball, we got things, but we really, for the young ladies, I think, and not saying that it doesn't get addressed, that's just, from the outside looking in, that's something that's really on my heart, is that sometimes we lose that. And I know we've got great, not just sports, but in the clubs and activities at Pinecrest, just to find a niche for these young ladies.
Yeah. I remember a couple of years ago, they had some of us, the mentors, come into the middle school, and we did mock job interviews for summer jobs for some of the kids. Do they still do that? Do they do job interviews? Not now. But anyway, we would come in, and they had different people come in from different parts of the business community, and we would walk through with the kids. They could be applying for a job at a car wash for the summer.
Right.
But they had to sit there and make a stand and say what they stood for and why we should hire them. And it was amazing. You had some kids on the balls of their feet, and then they were ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
And there were others on their heels who were like, what am I doing here? 7th, 8th graders.
Yes. We have kids that have been through a lot of trauma.
Uh-huh.
And trauma changes the brain.
Yeah.
And it takes a while sometimes for us to begin to tear down the walls that they have built up and build a relationship with the kid. But my motto has always been that kids don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So you invest in that kid, and through relationship, they begin to see themselves differently. They begin to see that they have value. And that's what we want to do with our mentoring and with this new program, is show them, and encourage them in a positive way. Most of these kids don't have someone saying good things to them. They get in trouble a lot, so they're constantly, having to hear what they've done wrong. They may not have supportive parents, or they have parents or a parent or grandparent that's just overwhelmed by trying to put food on the table.
Yeah.
And so it's unusual for them to have someone who wants to listen to them and encourage them.
And kids that fall through the cracks never make it to the tax rolls. They never become contributors,
Right.
and that winds up costing everybody else more money.
Right.
And the kids start a life of downhill, crime, whatever it is, and they just don't have that head start.
Right. And talking about trauma, the studies are showing now in the medical and mental health field that the best way to heal a traumatized brain is through rhythm and repetitive movement. So music, dance, all sports are healing. The scientists can actually see the brain begin to heal through
right?
doing this movement. But our kids, so many of them can't play a sport because of their grades or because of transportation. Their parents don't have a vehicle to transport them. And so, there's nothing for them to participate in. They sit at home, they're bored, they get into trouble.
So the kids that want to play sports don't have a means or way or means to get to the events,
Right.
to attend the practice.
Right. Or to buy the supplies that they need. It's...
Chris, does that affect you? Obviously it
What
has
we
to.
do when we do things, whether it's team camp or anything else, we, in a team meeting, we'll say, and if anybody has an issue with it, let us know. We don't have them raise their hand right there. And we wanted all the kids to get spirit packs, so they look like, so they're riding for our brand. We had 9 kids that said, Coach, we can't afford it. Now, we're not just giving handouts. So those kids did landscaping. They did multiple jobs. We called people in the community who, let them work. We had a young man couldn't pay for App State. He now has a full-time job after practice with a very successful builder because his manners, because of everything else. And that young man, who I can't say his name, I was at the gym working out, and a guy came up and said, Coach, I'm going to let you know, I met so-and-so the other day. I was lifting pipe. I was down at Lowe's, and he came up and helped me. And that right there between you and me, and, we'd love to have a great season. But that's why we do it. If you're only doing it in our profession, our ministry for the scoreboard, then you're in real trouble.
Yeah. Hey, I know we are probably running a little bit short on time, and I don't want to not speak about the Sandhills Patriots. And tell us a little bit about that program that you are involved in.
Well, Tom Van Camp, Tom Benton, Mr. Maples at First Bank, just a large group of people have a heart that started really with John Williams, and then they started Coaches Boys. And basically, people recognize the need to give kids the opportunity to be involved.
Right.
The Boys and Curls Club is awesome. Obviously, more buddies, community schools. But this organization is trying to raise funds so kids can go to camp, and it's not about how much I can give. It's not about I've got to fill out a form because I can't pay. It's I'm going to camp where I'm going to be mentored. We rebranded our camps, and they're called CARE camps: character, accountability, responsibility, encouragement. And every one of those words we all need. I mean, I have 3 kids, you have 3 kids, we all have kids. We want to be encouraged by our kids. We want to be an encouragement to them. We all have a responsibility. We're all accountable. And in character is what you do when no one's watching.
Right.
And as I talk about the Patriots, Mr. Van Camp, his AAU football team is basically a large majority of as-need kids. And he has a heart for them. And we want the community to know what's happening, whether it's the list of kids that have played in this program that are now at 4-year universities, kids that are in the military, kids that are in graduate school, kids that are policemen, firemen, you name it. And we just want to give kids opportunities.
Right.
And in the summers, when we run camps, we recognize the need. We want to reach out to Boys and Girls Club, and if we raise the funds, any kid that wants to go, bring them, drop them off. We're going to fill the bus with school supplies. Well, let's fill the bus full of kids that want to come to camping and become better people and play a little ball on the side.
Right. We appreciate you coming in always. You're always welcome to come in, and because you always add a lot to the conversation.
Probably too much, but that's
No.
It's all I can do to sit here and be quiet. It's I want to jump in.
Let me ask, just kind of in winding down, are you actively right now, Joyce? I'll ask you: are you recruiting volunteers? And if you are, if there's any information you want to give on the air where people can reach out if they want to become a volunteer, because it's a very rewarding experience and it's a win-win.
Yes, it is. Excuse me. Our mentors get as much out of the engagement with the mentee as the mentee does.
Right.
And we're always looking for volunteers. There's always a waiting list of kids that need a mentor. And, I have a kid now who his father's incarcerated, doesn't know his mom, lives with a grandmother who's going blind from glaucoma. So he spends most of his time sitting at home alone. We have kids that, like I said, have never had just a positive adult role model in their life. So somebody that just has a passion for kids and wants to spend some time with them every week, just loving on them and making a huge difference in their life.
Yeah. When I talked about that experience I had with my father kicking me off the basketball team, I'm prepared today. I can make decisions. I've been in situations where I've had consequences. Kids that don't have consequences, they don't know what to do. And if they don't have role models, they don't know how to behave.
Right.
And it's all about choices.
Yes.
And that's what you seem to be trying to create a foundation
Right, because I think oftentimes as parents, we tell the kid what they're doing wrong instead of what they're doing right or how to do it right.
Right.
And so we want to be the encouragement toward making better choices as opposed to just telling them what they did wrong.
Yeah. Where can people go if they want to read more about More Buddies?
They can go to our website, which is www.morebuddiesmentoring.com, or our Facebook page.
Sounds good. I'm glad we got together. We still have a little more than a day and a half over at Wal-Mart for Stuff the Bus. It's going to be going on today until 5 p.m. and then again tomorrow, Sunday from 12 to 4:30. You can buy extra school supplies for students who need them, get them ready for the school year, which is right around the corner, and everything just seems to be going by this year so quickly. Tracy Gibson, thanks for coming and joining us. Anthony McCauley, it was a pleasure to meet you.
Yes, sir. Same here.
Joyce Clevenger, thank you. And Chris Metzgar, as always, thank you for coming in. And a few more weeks, we'll be talking about the opening of school.
Yes, sir.
Everybody, have a great week. This is All Things Moore County.
Thank you.